decrease or increase CO2 production. It turns out it increases it. The opposite of what they claim.
The reducing nuclear plants does.
Yes.
Replacing it with coal.
Yes, yes.
I guess that's partly just to sort of catch people's attention. As
Yes.
Sort of like.
And by the way, I'm talking like a conservative. I'm not. I take global warming seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, there is this assumption that if you're a conservative, you think that global warming is a lie. No, it's not a lie. All the evidence shows that it's a very real problem, and it could kill us all.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
people
already affected us.
people tend to remember that it was conservative.
Things, especially around the equator.
Sorry?
It's already affecting people with
Oh,
increase of storms.
it will
and
affect
whatever,
us
but
here.
It will affect us here, but it's already affecting people more around the equator.
It will be horrible for everybody.
Yeah.
Here we
Not a sort of, this will happen. It's already happening.
it's already happening. Yes. For example, here we rely on for our good climate on the Gulf Stream.
Yeah.
And if the global warming continues, and it is going to continue, eventually the Gulf Stream may stop. This has happened before. It's not a theoretical thing, speculation. And if it stops, the climate over here will be like the climate of Norway.
Yeah.
And we are not prepared for any of this.
Yeah.
It will be a disaster
There'll be so
for
many
us.
changes that we don't know that you can't predict all of what.
And this is just the beginning.
Exactly.
It's going to get worse and worse. And again, people assume that if you're a conservative, you must be against global warming. Actually, it was a conservative politician, Margaret Thatcher, who first began to talk about global warming.
Really?
Yes. I
I
mean,
don't know much about it.
well,
I don't
Margaret
know much
Thatcher,
about sort of-
Margaret Thatcher was an arch-conservative, as you know.
Yeah,
He was right-wing,
yeah.
and I'm her follower. But she was also a competent engineer, and she was the first mainstream politician who began to take the global warming seriously. She put it on the map. She began to talk that we need to think about this problem because this is dangerous to us. It was Margaret Thatcher. It was not Greenpeace.
I'm sure there's
You didn't know this?
Or I don't know much about the sort of that time of. That's sort of before my time of.
In this book,
climate things.
I've collected little known facts. For example, people are very surprised to hear, and they can't believe it at first, that Hitler was actually the one who ended racism, because prior to Hitler, racism was mainstream. It was the normal thing, and Hitler made racism a dirty word, because since Hitler adopted racism began to be associated with Hitler. And first United States, then in other countries, people began to make the argument that racism can't be a good thing if Hitler believed in it. So I have a chapter on this as well, how actually United States, the human rights movement, how
I guess saying more sort of after, during, like when he was elected and whatever and brought to power, it wasn't. There would have been people against him initially, but like initially there would have also been a lot of people that were believing what he was saying, kind of thing.
Come again?
Like, you were saying that like it was only like you said that like racism became as like a sort of thing after because of Hitler.
No, here's what I'm saying.
But it would have during when he was being elected, a lot of like population there would have believed him. So you meaning like after the war?
I still don't understand what you're saying. If you can give it in one clear sentence, so that I could.
Like from what you were saying of like, what did you say about like racism?
So Hitler adopted his racial theories mostly from United States. For example, his Nuremberg laws, which were very racial laws, they were they were actually copied word by word very often by the Jim Crow laws in United States. Do you know this?
I don't know much about it.
Okay. So in the southern states, they had these Jim Crow laws that created special rules for blacks. For example, all these photos you see, whites only, blacks for on fountains.
Redlining of areas.
Yes,
as well.
this was all Jim Crow laws.
Yeah.
And this was mainstream, this was considered normal. And Hitler adopted it because Hitler adopted whatever was trendy.
Yeah.
Hitler was not original in anything. I mean, in the book
I guess that's more what I was trying to ask. Is so like he adopted it, and it was mainstream while he was elected and while he had a big following.
Yes.
But I'm guessing.
But then World War II came.
After the
and the
after
Holocaust
World
and
War
all
II
this.
it became-
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Actually, during the war,
what you're saying.
during the war, some opponents of the Jim Crow laws in the United States began to use this argument. So we are fighting Hitler. We think that Nazism is a bad thing, yet
we are doing the same
yet
thing.
we are doing the same thing. Yes. So the paradox is that Hitler achieved something he didn't want to achieve. He achieved the opposite of what he wanted to achieve. Hitler, today's multicultural society actually is the political legacy of one Adolf Hitler, which is mind-boggling when you think of it. Or take socialism. Socialism was supposed to help the exploited, to free the labor.
Yeah.
Actually, it ended up enslaving something like, according to the studies I quote here in the book by Professor Rudolf Rummel, something like 40 million people were enslaved at one time or another in the Soviet concentration camps. 40 million.
Yeah.
Now, to put this number in perspective, the number of the slaves in the southern state at the end of the Civil War were 3.5 million. Compare the two, 40 million. That's more than all the blacks who were ever ferried through the Atlantic. That's massive.
Don't know much about that. Yeah.
Well, I've quoted all the sources. 1/3 of this book is sources, and a lot of other things that people not what they expect to hear.
So what would you say is like what we should be doing to like stop climate change, or what would you say would be the things that
Just do nothing, because the more you do, the worse thing gets. For example, the problem with climate change is that this subject is left to activists.
Yeah.
It should be left to engineers. These are the people who know how to solve engineering problem. Greta Thunberg will not solve you an engineering problem.
Yeah.
Greta Thunberg is a con artist, is a PR artist.
It's PR. It's also PR.
Yeah, it's all about noise.
to get attention.
Yes,
to
exactly.
rather than
Leave it to the engineers, and the
But
engineers.
if you had the power to change sort of like if you
Well,
were say running,
that's my point.
If you were say running whatever country,
It's not about
would-
power.
Yeah.
Leave the power out of this.
But
Because the more you use power,
Yeah.
political power, the worse it gets. This is the point. If you leave it to the market will solve the problem. Why? Not because the market cares about global warming. Nobody cares about the global warming. People care about making money.
Yeah.
But it turns out nuclear can easily be cheaper than coal. Way cheaper.
Yeah.
And this will solve the
energy-wise,
problem.
But
Just leave the things to the market, like why we have these computers in our pockets right now. Do you know what a computer meant in the 50s?
it's very yeah.
A computer in the 50s was a building like this one,
Yeah.
several stories high,
Yeah.
with a lot of lamps, lamp valves. Have you heard of those?
No.
They didn't have transistors. They used lamps. And it would consume a lot of electricity, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And it will work for, say, 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, one of these lamps will burn. So a number of highly paid technicians will go through everything in order to find which one has burned and replace it. And then this will take 2 hours. And then it will work for another 15 minutes. And it would cost $5 million. And that's $5 million in the 50s.
Yeah.
So today, $5 million, these $5 million are something like $500 million.
Yeah.
Can you imagine paying $500 million for your phone?
It's not.
You will never be able to buy
The
it.
market is good at sort of in that sense, but then it's also if you think of like how like sort of the repairability of things like that there's a market incentive.
Could you please speak louder because I don't hear well.
Like modern phone, like if you look at like my old phone had like plastic coming up around the edges, so if you dropped it, it wouldn't smash. Whereas like this doesn't.
Yes.
For example, like the market wants you to buy new ones. So in that sense,
Probably, yes.
It's not the most to have
I agree.
repairability.
No, I agree.
Is much more. Is something that the market is never going to push for.
I agree, but consider this: that your phone, and your phone is a computer, by the way.
Yeah.
You know this,
Yeah.
don't you? Okay. Your phone costs £100.
Yeah.
I bought mine for 100, so I assume that yours is somewhere in this vicinity. £100, everybody can buy it. Poor people in Africa. I watch documentaries about Africa. They're really poor. I mean, they live on $2 per day.
Yeah.
That's really bad. And their roads are horrible. Everything is horrible there. But they all have mobile phones.
Well,
Even they can afford it.
Because so many have been produced that it's the sort of like.
Yeah, because
the
it was
waste.
left to the market. That's the point.
Exactly.
It was left to the engineers, to the people who are making money,
Yeah.
not to the people who wield political power.
Exactly.
And the nuclear energy was left to the politicians. And here we are. We are using. Do you know that we are using in our nuclear power stations technologies from the 1950s? It's really outdated. It's really antiquated. I mean, they have refined it. Now they're using computers. They're using redundant pumps and all that and this. But it's inherently a bad technology.
Yeah.
This technology has been outdated back in the 50s. The guy who invented it, it was who invented the present-day nuclear reactors. Well, I will not mention his name because right now I'm not sure I will spell it correctly. He's quoted in the book again. He invented this type of reactors, and at the time he said that these reactors are just a stepping stone, that these reactors are not good reactors, and we should think of better ones. And he had an idea of a better one, but at the time he proposed it, they told him, oh no, we have already invested a lot of money in this type, we are not going to do a new one.
What do you think about, so like, I'm not saying that a government would be the sort of solution to this, but like, all the water companies now are privatised, and a lot of them will just release the sewage into the sea because they're not going to get, it's cheaper for them, they don't need to deal with it.
Well, I agree. I agree.
Surely like a nuclear would need the same sort of, maybe not a government.
So they will release
would need some sort
the
of,
radiation in the...
like the market, not necessarily, but the market isn't going to push them to do it safely. It's going to push them to do it the cheapest, the most, whatever they can get away with.
Here's the thing. We should look at the big picture. Is the private business willing to cut corners? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Of course, there is plenty of evidence for this.
Exactly.
But then again, the question is, which is worse, private business or governments? And it turns out governments are horrible. Governments have such a bad track record. And for example, take the number of the people murdered by governments. The number of the people murdered by governments is way more than the number of the people murdered by criminals throughout the 20th century, plus the number of the people killed by wars, not to mention that wars are created by governments as well.
Yeah.
So the number of the people murdered by governments given by Professor Rummel in his book Death by Government.
Hey, no.
So note what the name of the book is, Death by Government.
Yeah.
That's the actual name of the book. It's a great book, I recommend it.
Yeah.
He
I'm
gives...
not disagreeing the current, but
Do you know what the number is? Do you know what the number is?
No.